Thank you so much. And thank you again to LAC for hosting this presentation. Again, this is the Pro Bono Portal Basics Workshop. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Victoria Pan. I am a project manager at A2J Tech. We are the portal developers, and we also handle the day-to-day maintenance of the portal. But with me today are also a handful of folks who have helped dream up the portal, has helped design some of the features that we are going to be talking about later on today. So first off, we have Jenny Gomez Haddad from Legal Services of Northern California, Sean Joost from Central California Legal Services, and Matt Kugizaki from Inland Counties Legal Services. And so those are our introductions, and I would love to hear from folks if you would like to drop where you're coming in from or where you're attending from, your role at your organization in the chat. We will also be using the chat and monitoring that for any questions during this presentation. We really want this to be sort of a hands-on workshop. So I will just give a couple of minutes for people to introduce themselves and mingle in the chat. I also wanted to note that I know we did have a presentation this past Tuesday. So if you wanted to include in your introduction, if you attended that presentation, that would be super helpful, and we would love to hear from you on your thoughts on that. Thank you so much. So for the agenda for today, we're going to be running through sort of a state of the portal, where we are today, some historical context for the portal. We'll also be walking through, and this is going to be a step-by-step demo that you can follow along with on your computer on how to register for the California Pro Bono Portal. And then we'll also talk about how to post your first opportunity, some tips and tricks for posting that opportunity, and other features that you can expect to see on the portal. All right, I think I'm handing it off to Jenny for that first learning objective.
Great. Thank you, Victoria. It's great to see some familiar names and faces. Good to see everyone. I wanted to talk a little bit about the California Pro Bono Portal as it stands, and then talk a little bit about statistics and a bit about the history. So the first thing is, if you don't already know, the California Pro Bono Portal is a free website. So it's free to all users, both volunteers and host organizations, to join and to partake in. And the goal is very simple. It's just to match volunteer advocates with legal aid organizations and legal nonprofits who are seeking services, volunteer opportunities that are legal in nature. And I emphasize that. I want to make sure that we're not being exclusionary. It's just to say that there are other volunteer matching websites that exist both nationally and regionally. And what distinguishes the California Pro Bono Portal from those is that these are going to be legal volunteer opportunities. And so you're seeking legal advocates who are going to work on legal related matters. But again, it's free. And the concept, the history will be coming soon. So for the statistics on the portal, we have over 40 legal aid organizations or other host organizations who are participating. We have over 600 opportunities that have been posted. Currently, there are a little over 80 active opportunities, and this is actually really wonderful because the drop in active opportunities is a good one. It's due to an uptick in volunteer interest from the ABA Pro Bono Week that happened at the end of October. We saw a big spike in people expressing interest in those opportunities. Yes, yay. And we also started expanding our marketing campaign. So we actually now have a LinkedIn profile as of the end of October. So Victoria, if you happen to be able to do that later, we could put our LinkedIn site into the chat. And that way you can also follow in more real time kind of things that are going on, including posts that we had for like this webinar, but also just other updates about the portal. We'll be putting those on the LinkedIn profile. And so all of those things kind of really helped, in addition to volunteer seeking year-end pro bono hours, all of those things really helped to take off some of these active opportunities, and some of them that have been stale for a little bit. So I can just speak to LISNIC. There were a couple of opportunities that I had posted that had been on there for a couple of months. Now, they weren't necessarily time sensitive, and that is an important feature right now while we're getting going. Like, one of the best practices that we're going to talk about is making sure that you're considering the portal's reach right now and recognizing that you're not going to be putting up opportunities that are extremely time sensitive, like an unlawful detainer. But at any rate, I posted a couple of those opportunities. They hadn't been touched for a couple of months. And all of a sudden, with this flurry of activity coming into the portal, I got enough interest to where I had to take down several posts because we had multiple people interested in the same case, which was amazing. So that was a really exciting thing that happened. We have over 2,000 registered volunteers. This includes, active attorneys, students, other professionals. And I will note that the actual reach is even broader because some of the registrants are pro bono counsel who are coordinating opportunities for their entire firm. So we're just looking at the actual registrants, the registrant numbers. Volunteers can search by practice area, estimated hours, location, remote availability, and more, making it easy and efficient to match with a legal aid organization or nonprofit in need in the state. And you're going to be able to see the demo of that a little bit later when we show you the actual portal interface.
I just want to acknowledge we have a hand raised from Jeffrey Olson. I am not sure if you can go off mute, but if you did have a question, you can put it into the chat. And if for some reason the chat feature isn't working for folks, feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom as well. We'll be monitoring both.
Can we have the go off of mute if possible? And if not, yeah, absolutely. I'll take the question in the chat too.
Yes, they can go off mute if they'd like.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Jeffrey, did you want to go off mute and talk about your question? Okay, I'll go ahead. You can also put the question in the chat and we're happy to answer it as well. So I think we'll go to the next slide. So how did we get here? Kind of a history of the portal. It's lots of collaboration. So even we kind of call it community grown. We have been talking about this as a sector for many years. Some people were like, oh, I thought this happened many years ago. We launched in 2024, but the collaboration did happen many years ago. The idea behind this really began in 2018 when several California pro bono directors attended the National Equal Justice Conference and saw the Florida Bar Association present on its statewide pro bono portal, which to my knowledge was the first in the nation of its kind at the time. And that sparked conversations about starting something similar here in California. You can find a pet. You can try to date someone online. You can do a lot of things online with volunteer matching or adoptions or things like that. So why did we not have a space specific to finding legal advocates and placing them with legal aid organizations and nonprofits? And so that's really where this concept was born. And then the collaboration kicked into gear with a lot of stakeholder input. A lot of you on here may have already been to some of our One Justice conference sessions about the portal as we were gathering feedback. It was really important when we were talking about a statewide pro bono portal that we engage stakeholders from all 58 counties in California, and that we also engaged with diverse perspectives across the sectors. So we wanted to make sure there were large law firms and solo practitioners and law schools, bar associations, other legal nonprofits, LSC grantee programs, non-LSC grantee programs, in order to really understand where stakeholders were coming from and how to build out a portal that would meet, sort of the Venn diagram would meet, the needs of most of the people that were involved. So, and when you have a state with, I believe, the largest bar in the nation, you're going to have a lot of different perspectives. And so we really spent those several years gathering that feedback and thinking really hard as to what would serve the needs of most of you. So hopefully we did that. COVID did hit and did disrupt us a bit. So we kind of, the progress slowed, and that did, slow down the timeline for the actual launch. But the portal did launch publicly in January of 2024. We kind of affectionately call it Portal 1.0. And that was a really wonderful time. We officially launched at the 2024 One Justice Pro Bono Conference. So since then, we're coming up in January of 2026 on 2 years. We're getting a chance to do a year in review at the end of December to look at the statistics for this year and compare that to 2024. So it's really exciting, but we are expanding our reach, and more LSOs are joining, more volunteers are joining, and things like this are getting the word out. So we're really excited. Most exciting for these types of sessions is to really get your feedback and have you talk about features that are interesting to you, things that are or aren't working, and just other feedback that we can collect. And then I'll just finally kind of tease that we have an advisory committee that shapes, honestly, a lot of what happens in the portal. All of the folks as panelists on this call are advisory committee members. It's open to anyone. So if you are interested in diving into the practical side of the build out, we would absolutely encourage you to join our advisory committee. And thank you again for being here. I'm going to pass it over to Matt. Thanks, Matt.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenny, for the background. When thinking about this webinar today, we really wanted to make this about the basics. So folks that may have never heard of the portal or have heard about it and maybe wanted to learn a lot more. So we really wanted to provide that robust background because soon, as you will see, our goal is to get you onto the portal. It's free to join. It's relatively easy to join. I'm going to try to do something that I don't like doing, but some unpredictable live real-time joining of the portal with you all. I tell everyone it's so easy to join, and hopefully that is the truth and that is all that happens. The first other thing we wanted to provide with you is, as Jenny mentioned, we have an advisory council. So if anyone is interested in really being part of the portal team, please join us, reach out to any of us here. All of our emails are on the presentation, and I'm sure you can find all of us. Please do. And we also wanted to show you who all of our partners are. This is a big thing. We have LAC. Thank you so much for hosting us. DLAC, Disaster Legal Assistance Collaborative, One Justice, PBTI, the State Bar, LAFLA, California Access to Justice Commission, and then a lot of other super important folks too that for some reason I did not have everyone's logos, including ICLS, where I work, Contra Costa County Bar Association, A to J Tech, Central California Legal Services of Northern California, Public Counsel, Hanson Bridget, and many, many more. This has truly been the work of collaboration. And we have folks who joined the committee a couple of years after the whole thing started and are now extremely contributing members. We also love having new, fresh perspectives, so please join. Okay, the next slide is going to be questions. Does anyone have any questions up until this point? Please put them into the Q&A. If someone could just put a question in, even if it's really easy, that'd be great, just to make sure that we can know that the Q&A is all working. We would love that. In the meantime, we also would love for everyone to go to the portal website, which I hope, because there's a QR code there that will take you to the portal website. But if not, here we go. We're going into part 2 of today, which is registering for the California Pro Bono Portal. There are a bunch of us here, and I know we advertise this to folks that are newer to the portal. And I think we do have the hand function. So if everyone in the audience could, that is a good point. Christian, if you put your organization in the chat, which I think you did before, legal assistance for seniors, maybe Victoria can look into that in real time. We will check into that. But in the meantime, we're going to have everyone go to calprobono.org. I'm going to put that into the chat. You can scan the QR code. You can also just Google California Pro Bono Portal. That is step 1 for this segment. Then what I'm going to do, as promised, is do the real-time stop share and reshare me registering so we can all see how easy it is. And Victoria will be able to check if we get new registrants, and we're hoping to get at least 5 new registrants. I'm going to do my QVC hook. We need 5 new registrants for today. And it doesn't look like legal assistance for seniors, so we're going to count that as number 1. And now I'm going to share my screen to register myself so you can all follow along. By now, we've all gone to, www.calprobono.org. There's all of our partners as well. And the first thing you'll want to do is go into register. There's a few preliminary things that instruct you on how to register. It's important to know these things, so I'll go over them real quickly. In order to log in, you'll need access to an email account. That's how you'll register. So you need access to the email. Registering for the portal does not guarantee that you'll be granted an account. So as much as I just pushed everyone to register, we do review everyone's information for accuracy and appropriateness. As Jenny mentioned, the portal has a very specific purpose that's connecting legal service organizations that provide services to low-income Californians, and in a other range of services, but to volunteers. Pro bono opportunities can only be posted on behalf of a qualifying entity, so you cannot post them just like a person cannot post them. That it's obviously important to connect individuals seeking legal services to organizations, but this is not the platform for that. And the portal does not work directly, again, to help people in need of legal help. If you are a person that is here and need legal help yourself, you should go to lawhelp.ca.org. So we got through that. Very important. We'll go to continue. Oh, it's loading. And then we come to our newest edition, which is our revised terms of service. I'm going to go through this slowly because I believe that everyone else is also working on registering at the same time. But we have had a law firm vet and amend and make our terms of service wonderful. A few things that I just want to note: that we do have a definition for pro bono legal services. As Jenny mentioned, we really do want, and this mirrors the Business and Professionals Code. We want to make sure that this is a platform where we are contributing to pro bono legal services as defined in a more uniform way. We also define legal service organization, volunteers, and all that. So we really do want to make sure that we are being consistent. The portal is a way to equalize and to make consistent some of our policies and practices. And for folks at organizations where maybe you have a new pro bono program or even no pro bono program, the portal can help you develop a pro bono program. The primary purpose of the portal, I'm just going to read it because it is critically important for us all to understand, is to increase access to free, high-quality legal services for people of limited financial means and other vulnerable populations by creating a space for legal service organizations to publish and volunteers to find pro bono legal opportunities, cost-free. That was critically important, as Jenny mentioned in the history. A lot of the feedback is we wanted to make this free for organizations to use, for law firms to use, for everyone to use. We heard a lot of feedback about if there's a cost, that means that smaller organizations may not be able to post opportunities. And a lot of times those smaller organizations do incredibly critical work for specific populations or in particularly under-resourced areas. So that is important. We note that it's community grown. If you have questions or suggestions, we give an email address that goes directly, or I believe to Victoria and others at A to J Tech. We do want to hear feedback. There are many ways that you'll be able to give feedback. There are links to other sites and resources. We're super excited to announce that we have connected with PBTI, not just as friends, but also as tech integration. I will show you as well. There are Pro Bono Training Institute videos here. So if you post opportunities, you can also reference training opportunities directly related to those legal areas. We do not guarantee results. We are a group, we should mention, of legal aid, law firm, other professionals that are not getting paid at all for doing the pro bono work personally. We are here to create the space. The portal does not guarantee results, but what it does aim to do is create this space and platform for others to use. We have a privacy policy that you should review as well. It is also linked to the website. We have some use guidelines and for posting for LSOs. A lot of them are pretty straightforward, but again, this is all in the spirit of wanting to make sure this is a really positive space for all. So we want accurate, complete information as much as possible. Volunteers should meet all legal requirements. So if something does require an attorney, you will advertise it for an attorney. If something requires someone to be licensed in like certain language skills, you will post it that way. The portal is not monitoring things at that level of detail. So we ask all of the users to be accurate and appropriate. And also we ask users to manage the cases. The portal is not, we don't have a staff. We're not managing the placements or the cases. We're creating these matches, but it's up to you all to then cultivate those relationships with volunteers. And you'll see in the PowerPoint, once we jump back to it, there is a little bit of post-portal guidance that will guide you once you have onboarded your volunteers. And I will say, as Jenny mentioned, we've had a lot of activity with volunteers. Now is the time to get on and strike, because you will get volunteers if you start posting opportunities. A few other things: we commit to professionalism. Conflicts checks, the portal is not going to do conflicts checks. You should do that on your own. Confirm malpractice insurance. The portal does not guarantee or does not provide malpractice insurance. You should work that out yourself. A lot of volunteers, their firms will provide it. A lot of legal service organizations provide it and cover their volunteers. That's something to work out. There's some automatic notifications that are wonderful. We do not spam people, but they are friendly notifications that will help you out. Finally, there's also volunteer responsibilities. I want to highlight one thing. Jenny Gomez and others, but led by Jenny, went through and reviewed dozens of volunteer policies from legal aid organizations across the state to try to distill a very thoughtful, smart set of volunteer responsibilities in terms that we've provided through the portal. This doesn't necessarily replace what your organization has of itself. We all recognize everyone has, individual things they need for how their organization is set up. But we did want this as a way to help organizations that don't have volunteer policies, smaller organizations, maybe they don't have a pro bono staff, to create policies that all of the volunteers on our portal also agree to. So again, this is just helps us create a base set of policies that all the volunteers are gonna agree and have. They ensure confidentiality, the communication, competency training, responding promptly and professionally, and all this. If you go through, and I'm not going to just read all of them, but they are a very strong set of policies. Section 5, though, does say that the portal may terminate a user's access. Thankfully, this is not something that the portal, has to do often, but it is a safeguard in the event there's, someone not using the portal in accordance with our goal to connect legal aid folks with volunteers wanting to help low-income folks, and the way that it's written all there, then people can be terminated from the portal. And then there's some other legal clauses that everyone should read through about indemnification, intellectual property rights. You can see that we did get a very great law firm to make sure we have all the stuff we need in here, and other things. We do have a non-discrimination policy. We recognize that the portal can be used in a way, and this is really important to us, to equalize the access to legal services, high quality legal services, to legal deserts, rural areas throughout the state that don't have as many, attorneys. So that's really important for us to just name and put in here. The portal is here to help all and to make sure that resources can be allocated more fairly across the state. If there are disputes, there is a dispute resolution feature. Notably, though, the portal is free to everyone. So it's, that is, I think, critical for us also in avoiding disputes. Like, no one's going to force anyone to use the portal, and you're not going to lose, money if you use it and then decide you don't want to. And then some other final agreements. So I have read through this more than I've probably read through any set of terms that I've ever done. And so I'm going to agree to the terms and hit next. I'm also, I think there may be a chat. I'm just going to pop back and see, or if someone can read. Are there any questions in the chat? Oh no, there's just more info. Perfect. Thank you. And then my email, I'm going to do, I've already registered at ICLS. So Victoria know that this is going to be a additional one that we can remove, but we're going to go through this. I promise, that it's quick. Pronouns. Drop down. Okay, pro bono supervisor. I'm gonna post opportunities today on behalf of a qualifying organization. Okay, I'm good. I'm gonna continue next. Oh, and county legal services and legal.org. Now, this is optional, so I am going to skip this for now, but it is important.
I think you need to put your type at the top, Matt.
Oh, you're right. Entity type. Very good. I'm an LSO. I can add my state, even though it looks optional. I think that's good. I'm going to submit. Oh, I registered.
And I want to just point out really quickly. So you notice that the address was not required, but the zip code, and not even the state, but the zip code was required. And Matt, do you want to talk about why we decided that the zip code should be required for registration?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons, and I think we both have touched upon this, is the portal is really trying to ensure that we are looking at California statewide, and we're collecting data to see if there are gaps in coverage of legal aid, and I guess specifically pro bono legal services. So we collect zip code because we use that to then run reports just, on our own, and we do have a grant to share that we are onboarding organizations that serve every part of California. And then we are hoping that even if though my zip code I put was in Riverside County, volunteers can be from LA County where there's relatively higher percentage of attorneys, or San Francisco, or somewhere where there's a lot of attorneys, or shout out to UCI, they are active on the portal and they can bring folks into our region. So our goal is to try to share resources, wonderful California pro bono resources throughout the state. So I think that's at least the reason where I think that the zip code is important. Jenny, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that too. It is no coincidence that a lot of the folks that are really interested in the portal, and not all of them, but are from more under-resourced areas, because we see and we have seen the benefits of being involved in bringing volunteers from large cities with that exact expertise we need, but have so few of those folks in our region to take on cases that we help with. We also have a lot of folks on the portal from larger urban areas as well. It's great literally for every organization that qualifies under the terms of service we went through. All right. So I'm wondering, has anyone registered as we went through that? I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the Zoom.
We have folks saying yes in the chat, and I can see your registrations filtering through on my end.
Yeah, we can fact check but thank you. No, we should appreciate everyone for saying yes, and Victoria can fact check you in real time. We are going to go to the next slide, which is just a short break that again is the QR code to register. We appreciate people doing that. This is the first time, as I mentioned, that we really did this type of like, let's all go in and do this together type thing, and really appreciate that folks followed along. Maybe let's give it a couple minutes for people to finalize their registration, because we have an even more exciting segment coming up from Sean, who's going to walk everyone through, I don't want to steal your thunder, but posting your first opportunity. Victoria, I'm wondering, because there is a delay with registration, are you able to approve some of the folks that are registering here right now?
The approval requests are going to take a minute to load on my end, but I can see that they are coming in.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So within the day or so, you will be approved to post.
Okay. Well, that's perfect, because it should take a day or two for folks to think about what they need to post about maybe. But all right, are there any questions about the registration process? Big shout out to Victoria and A to J Tech that makes this process very easy, to be honest. I think that might be why we don't have questions, because even I was able to get my way through it. There are, you probably didn't see on the website, but there are multiple places that say, if you need help, ask. And again, that goes directly to Victoria and the other tech developers at A to J Tech. So if you do have issues later, please feel free to reach out to them. And off to you. Let me see. Oops. Sean.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Juice, the Pro Bono Director at Central California Legal Services, and I'm going to show you how to post your first opportunity and some other features on the portal. So instead of just looking at these screenshots, I'm actually going to share my screen. I think I can do that, right? let's see. Oh, someone else is sharing. Oh, okay. So now, here we go. Hopefully you will see. Can everyone see the portal now? Okay, super. So this is what you will see if you register, once your registration is approved by Victoria, and you come into the portal, you can see these tabs on the left. This is the organization directory, so that shows you all the fabulous legal aid organizations who have joined, and there are also some law firms that have put themselves on here publicly. When you register for the portal, you will have some options about whether you want your organization to be shown on the public list or whether you want to be kept private. I can't imagine why a legal services organization would not want to be shown, but most of the volunteers and law firms have not put themselves on publicly. Then you can also look at the people who have registered. And again, you can see that individuals are on here, primarily the representatives of the different LSOs. The volunteers tend to keep their identity private on this when they show up. So I'm going to show you a little bit about what you will see when you look at your profile. So you'll have information about yourself. I need to spiff mine up a little bit, but the important thing to show today is the system rules. So once you've registered yourself, you will then, if you were the person who registered your organization, you are automatically assigned an administrative role. And you can choose whether you're going to be visible in the directory, but you will also choose some other things about how you're going to interact with the portal. So the two sections here are, do you want to receive notifications for opportunities that you put on the portal? And this is like you personally. And then there's another choice. Do you want to receive notifications for opportunities that your entire organization puts on the portal? Now, I'm the only person at my organization who posts, so I chose these because otherwise I would get 2 emails for everything that happens. But some organizations will have various people posting, maybe from different departments. So in that case, if you are a person who's posting on behalf of your particular department, your particular pro bono project, you're at your organization, you could choose just to get information about your posts and not to receive information and notifications about all of the other opportunities. So that way you could sign up for the portal and not be inundated with information that really is only of needed by someone else in your organization. So once you, as the admin, will go into your role, you then have the opportunity to add other people to your organization, and you also will have the opportunity to approve people who want to add themselves into your organization. You can add them. So like I added somebody new on my staff the other day, and then she gets an email and accepts it. But you could also tell your staff, I want you to go onto the portal, and they can sign themselves up and as part of your organization themselves. But you, the administrator, are the only one who can change the settings for your organization. So let's see
I just
here.
wanted to jump in, Sean.
Yeah.
So if you go to the profiles that you did have, there's a My People section, and that's where you would add the individuals for
Oh, right. Okay.
you
We'll
would
do that
add
first.
to your organization. So currently Sean has multiple people. So Sean is the admin, and you're going to notice at the end the role, admin versus staff. But as Sean mentioned, it's very important to have at least 2 people on the portal, and however you want to designate notifications and all of those things, that's up to you. But it's really important just because we go on vacations or things happen. I at Lisnick also have, there are 3 people that I have, and all 3 of us receive the notifications just because I want to make sure if I'm out and someone expresses interest in something that it goes somewhere. So it's just really important. I want to show you the My People. Go ahead and you can add those individuals through the add person button, like Sean was saying, or in other ways, or you can contact AJJ Tech if you have questions. There's that contact us button 2 steps below the My People. And yeah, this is really helpful. And then you can go into each person's profile and adjust notifications and other settings. Thanks.
Okay, right. So there's people, and you can, as we said, you can choose whether they're going to be an admin or a staff role. And if you go to your organization, you can see all of the settings for your organization. And the distinction between the admin role and the staff role is that only an admin can change what you've put in your settings for your organization. But everybody, the staff included, can go ahead and post opportunities. They can receive the notification when someone expresses interest in the opportunity. So they have the rights to do those types of functions. Okay, so we are going to look at how you post an opportunity. So this is the page of all opportunities, and then you can also look at your organization's opportunities. And these are sorted into whether it's published, which means it's current, it's live. Administration means it's already done, but it still shows up because you might want to copy it or reformulate it later. There are drafting, so maybe things you are thinking about and you changed your mind, but they're in the works. And you can sort easily the status of your organization's opportunities, so you can see what you have published, and you can also do it like this. And so it will show you what's live. So you can post a new opportunity by just going up here to your Add Opportunity button. And there's just a little reminder that you shouldn't put client confidential information into your posting. And then we're going to start posting. So would you like to choose a specific date for your opportunity to be posted? So for example, if you have a clinic that's coming up, maybe you have them scheduled for the year and you want to go ahead and get the posting ready for your volunteers, you can set up the posting and then you can pick a specific date when you want it published so that it's scheduled out in the future. Or if you want to publish it now, then you just say, no, I don't want to choose a date. So I don't want to choose a date. Check this box if you would like the opportunity to be published after you complete the form. So that means, like, I'm super sure I'm going to do all this right and I want it to be posted. But maybe if you have a staff person doing the drafting, you want to review it before it's posted. So in that case, you could tell them, look, don't check that box. And that way it goes into drafting and they can let you know, okay, the drafts are ready for you to review. You can go in there and review them and then you can publish. But we're going to go ahead and publish mine because I actually want to publish. So the deadline to express interest. We set up an automatic 150 days because we didn't want people to accidentally leave posts on forever and have stale posts, but you can set any time that you want within 150 days. So if you wanted to extend it after the 150 days, you would have the opportunity to do that. But this is a function that will allow us to avoid having stale posts. I'm just going to set a deadline. Mine is not a time-sensitive thing. Is the opportunity hosted by an organization or a network? So if I open this up, am I going to lose my work? If I open up the networks, probably. Okay, so most of us are organizations, but we can show you later, we have a category called networks, and that's for groups of organizations that are working on a specific project, and they can post their opportunities as the network. So for example, probably a lot of you are familiar with Stay Housed LA. That's a collaborative project. They're on here as registered as a network, so they can post their opportunities as that network. Or the Disaster Legal Collaborative is also on here as a network. But we are ourselves. So who it is, it's going to show up for your organization. I don't have any partners for this particular opportunity. So now we decide what kind of type of opportunity. Is it a case, a clinic? Is it education or training in the community, an intake project, other? or a research or translation project. What we see looking at the activity on the portal is that the type of opportunity that volunteers are most likely to take is something that's called a clinic. The type of opportunity that's usually more often posted is a case. So if you, like, for example, we just did an estate planning project, which we called it a clinic for the law firm partners, because they all came in and did their training together, but then they each get assigned as client's case. So, but if you can call it a clinic, you're going to get, it's going to be more likely to be taken up. However, I am posting a case because that's what I have. Now, this is an important one. If you are posting an evergreen opportunity, and so here, I'll show you. I'm going to show you, if I switch, I think this will work, right? So I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about embedding the link on your website later on, but I'll show you what an evergreen opportunity might look like. Oh, I guess it's going to take a minute to load. But evergreen means it's a type of opportunity that is, it's not just one specific client. It's going to, well, we'll go back here while that's loading. It's going to go on, right? So for example, I have a panel of attorneys who take domestic violence restraining order cases. They go and represent the client in court. It's a very limited scope opportunity. So I just have an opportunity that says join my DVRO panel. And that could be up forever because it's not for a specific case. So that's an example of an evergreen opportunity. But right now, I'm going to be posting something that's for a specific individual. So volunteer types, we have a whole choice: administrative support, attorneys, law school graduates, law students, other professionals, and paralegals. So translators. So mine is going to be an attorney. And now you have the option of, does it have to be a California licensed attorney, or could it be anybody? And sometimes there are types of cases that it could be somebody, for example, if it's an immigration case, it could be someone in another state. And there are some opportunities that you might want an attorney, but maybe you're going to oversee the opportunity, their work, and so you can sign off on it. So they're not necessarily going to be taking that, like I'm the signer offer and have to be licensed type of role. Don't you like my technical lingo, the signer offer? Capped number of volunteers. So this would normally be if you had a clinic, maybe you need 20 volunteers, you can put that in. And then the estimated time commitment. So the opportunity that I'm going to post is, I'm going to say 5 to 10 hours, and it's just your best guess. And then you're going to put the what it is. So is there going to be training time? Is there going to be an actual clinic time? Or what do you think it's going to be? So mine's going to be an estate planning opportunity. So I'm going to say the time is estimated for client interview and drafting client estate planning documents. Okay. So is the opportunity for specific counties or statewide? So as Jenny and Matt were saying, one of the purposes of the portal is to make sure that we can give opportunities for people in all of our counties, including our rural counties. And so we've included information that lets volunteers find which county they're going to be serving, because sometimes people have a specific interest, so they can search by county. You know, we sometimes have volunteers who, they might be working at a law firm in LA, but they're from, I don't know, think of a Lake County, and they want to give back in their hometown. So they might want to look and say, hey, what's available in Lake County? And so that's why we have that on there. And it also allows us to collect data on where we're serving. And then we have the specific information about, is it a rural community? So the practice areas, we recently revamped these, and you can go through here and find what it is that you want to do, and you can choose more than one. So in my case, in case you were wondering why it was only 5 to 10 hours to do estate planning, it's because all this client needs is advanced health care directive and a power of attorney. They don't need a whole will. But because I'm thinking some people might look at that and say, they might just be searching for estate planning, I might want to choose, if I can find it, where did it go? Isn't it called wills?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. I just couldn't see it on my screen. I'm going to put that there too, just because I think a volunteer, when they're searching, they might just choose to filter for that. Is this in person or remote? It's remote. They just need to have a telephone call with the client. They don't have to meet them in person. So now training required, please include the training requirements if applicable. So is training required? Yes, because I want someone to actually do this. I don't want my estate planning team to review it, because my estate planning team at CCLS is funded only to do estate planning for people over 60. And this client is a veteran who's under 60. So I need to find pro bono assistance. So I want to say expertise in advanced planning documents, powers of attorney is required, right? I'm not going to have somebody sign off. They need to do it themselves. So is training provided? In this case, no. I need them to be able to do it. And no, nobody's going to help them at my firm. Now, as Matt was saying earlier, there's the ability to reference the trainings that we've linked to from the wonderful Pro Bono Training Institute. And so that could be included if you had training provided. Yes, I think let me show you what it will do. Oh, it just says yes. Is there a place where we can write what the training is that's provided? Okay.
We can add that in.
We can add that in, I guess. I
Yeah.
think that's one of the updates that's in the works, is to actually let you choose. You could go into the library of the PBTI trainings, and we'll be able to select from those, and they will show up here so that the volunteer can see them directly. But that's one of the updates that Victoria and her team are working on. Language skills, are they desired or required? Not in my particular case. Now we get to the hardest part, which is writing the title. And honestly, I am the pits at writing the title. So sometimes I go into the list of things and I look at other people's and I get ideas for what to title things. But I'm in luck today because I have a veteran client. So that always is something that catches people's attention. Let's see. I'm going to give it my usual crappy title, but if anybody has a better idea, they can let me know. And veteran in need of power of attorney and advance healthcare directive. See, that's a boring title.
So Sean, you can actually
Jenny.
add the military service and veterans tag.
Oh my God, see? Jenny is so
Add
smart.
lots of things. So we have groups of people, so we have children and
I
youth.
totally forgot
them.
about that, but that is right. So we have loaded in some categories of people like military service and veterans, LGBTQ rights.
And it,
So
it can increase your reach if someone is
that's
looking,
right.
someone is
That's right.
filtering. So I would encourage you to add the practice areas or the groups that are applicable.
Yes, I forgot about that. Okay, Jenny is, well, without Jenny, we would all be lost. So, okay, no, it's true. It's true. Okay, so we're gonna say, you know, young veteran who's a student is in need of a power of attorney and advanced healthcare directive. So what will the volunteer do? Volunteer will telephone, well, let's see, he'll conduct a telephone interview with the client to ascertain his needs. Volunteer will draft the necessary documents, review them with the client, and provide the client with instructions on notarizing the documents to conclude the representation. Now, this will be, what we will do is we will draft a limited scope agreement. So I'm going to put that in. ICLS will draft okay. And I can go back and work on this more later, but you get the gist. So you put that in and you push save. So you see how simple this is, and it'll say, do I want to show the opportunity on my website? I have show automatically because now maybe this will work. Okay, so this is the cool thing about embedding it. If we refresh what I just put on there, see, it's already there. So that's pretty awesome. And here's the example of help domestic violence. See there, I tried to find some emotion and feeling for my headline, but it's not my specialty. So here's the one for the evergreen opportunity. You know, you could sign up for that anytime you want. So now if we go over to all opportunities, here I am. I'm at the top now because we put the most current postings at the top. So that people can see what's new when they hop in, and then you can also just see what your opportunities are. And you can always go into your opportunity and you can edit it. So if I change my mind later and I'm like, well, that's a crappy headline, or I forgot to put this in, it's super easy to add that information in there. And you can always unpublish it anytime you want to take it down. So if someone takes that case, then I can go in here and I can unpublish it if I want to, but I don't want to do that because I just did it. So does anyone have questions about posting before I go on to the other slides? I'm going to stop my share now. And Matt, do you want to put the slides back up?
Yeah, I'll put them back up. And I just want to acknowledge, I think that was probably one of
Oops,
the
I
helpful
went
things.
too long.
No. I think it was perfect. I think that was very helpful. I will share the slides, but we do have
Okay. So just
I think
real quickly, once you do that, if someone expresses interest in your post, you'll just get an email that tells you that the person has expressed interest. And then you can you can look at that volunteer's profile, which is otherwise private from you, but you can see their information. And then you're going to treat them just like any volunteer that comes to you any other way. That's the end of your relationship as far as using the portal at this time. So if somebody called you on the phone and volunteered, you're going to do whatever you would do. You're going to send them their agreement. You're going to have them sign your confidentiality agreement, whatever you're going to do. So let's show. So the other thing was to talk about embedding the portal on your website. And so as I showed you, when I posted that, it went right onto my website. And so that is a very convenient option that means you, the pro bono director, can have control over what goes on your website and what comes off yourself, instead of having to have your ID or website folks do it for you. And that makes everybody happy. And as you saw, it's super easy and it's instantaneous. So Victoria's group can make a website link for you. It takes the IT people 5 minutes to put it on your website. And some organizations already have them ready to go. If you're already registered, the links are on a tab on your profile, and you can go ahead and have your IT people do that. But if you don't have one already set up, that's easy to create for you, and you can just reach out to the contact information email on this portal to have that created for you. I think I'm going to turn it over to Victoria to talk about new and upcoming features.
Thank you so much, Sean. And I did want to say, Sean is such a trooper because a lot of the features that you saw today are brand new as of this week. And if you are interested in keeping up with all of our updates and when they are launched, there is that QR code that I was mentioning in the chat, so you can follow along on LinkedIn. But for 2026 and some upcoming features that you can anticipate, we are creating a tailored volunteer dashboard so that folks have a place to put in their hours as they volunteer for different opportunities. We're also going to have a step-by-step comprehensive knowledge base, and that's sort of a combo of an FAQ versus a guide as well, so that both volunteers and opportunity hosts can double check on things as you add more people to the portal, how to do all of that and that management that we just talked about. And again, we want to emphasize that the portal is an ever evolving thing. We want to make it as user-friendly as possible. So we are going to be incorporating a more easily accessible feedback and evaluation platform. We're still trying to figure out the kinks of what we want this to look like. And then last but certainly not least, we are also going to be incorporating an opportunity suggestion algorithm. And what that will do is allow volunteers to view after they've already expressed interest in an opportunity, any other opportunities that might be of interest to them based on what they've already volunteered for or what they've suggested that those are the practice areas that they are interested in gaining more experience with. So yeah, any questions? I also know that LAC probably has some things that they need to say at the end of this presentation, but I want to make sure we catch any questions. Please feel free to use the chat function or the Q&A there from our panelists today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you everyone for your time today, and thank you to our presenters. We hope to see you all at future training sessions. This webinar was recorded and will be uploaded to the LAC website within 1 week of the event. You will all receive an email with a link to that. Have a good rest of your day.